It's weird how the body remembers things. We think we're just souls and spirits. The body is also a part of the soul. It's interesting how the body remembers things. I've been so physically depressed the past 2 days, and with seemingly no reason at all, like just seemingly no reason. Um, I thought that maybe it was like driving around without air conditioning. I thought it was like the car trouble. You think it's this, you think it's that. Um, but you know how Facebook pulls up memories? This time last year, Jerry almost died. My cat almost died this time last year, and that was like really taxing on the body because I was so stressed out trying to keep this cat alive. I went into my Apple photos, and it's like, dude, in thinking back to like 10 years, I'm like, dude, this time every year something batshit crazy happens. And like, it's weird how the body remembers it because, I mean, I could say I'm depressed for many reasons, but it was something that was like over the top. It was something that was like very strange, like very unwarranted, very strange. The body remembers trauma. It remembers, and I was thinking back, so I feel like in the season that I'm in, it was like I go back like 10 years ago. Um I had encountered somebody that I was so drawn to, and um we dated, whatever. I mean, it's not a big deal. But anyways, it was like, dude, this shit goes back so far. Terrible, terrible traumas to the body. Um, I took a 5 day after pill, which is like the Ella. Um, like, abortion is not a good thing. I've never had an abortion, but 10 years ago, around this time, right around this time, I did took a 5 day after pill because um, I spotted and I was like, shit, I'm pregnant. And I took a 5 day after pill, just really being asleep in the matrix, like just completely asleep in the matrix. And my partner at the time, he was like, you don't have to do that. Like, we can figure it out, it'll be fine. But I didn't even think about that. Um, that was this time, like 10 years ago. It's like been 10 years of repeated behaviors. Like we live in a matrix. So weird. And ever since then, it's been hard to kind of come to grips about reality when you think about how different your reality could have been had you not done that. Um, to this day, a photograph of him makes me cry. Not because I'm in love with him or anything, but to this day, I mean, it's like it started 10 years ago. It was like 10 years ago, you committed that sin, which was murder, and I was not aware, obviously, because we're so brainwashed. You take a 5 day after pill. I took the pill because I spotted and I was pregnant, and I was like, I don't want to be, so I took this pill. And you don't think twice about it, but he did, and he was like, "Listen, you don't have to do that." He's like, "It's fine, like, doesn't work, it's fine, like, all good." Um, but our relationship was so strained. It was so strained um, by many factors. But to this day, is weird because for some reason in my physical depression that I'm experiencing, I decided to go and look in social media to see where he's at nowadays, and a photograph of him makes me cry. Just a photograph, like just seeing the man's face makes me cry. Why? That's so weird. I know why, but we have a deep history, like many. We're talking Tsar Nicholas, we're talking Mark Antony, we're talking about sins that keep repeating. We keep repeating these sins, and you know, the situation is like he's with a girl who he was between me and this other girl, but he chose this other girl, and now they're still together, but they did not get married. They do not have kids. But we got pregnant, and I just met him though, and I'm not saying God's will be done. It's like if we had better wisdom back then, I think the outcome would have been a lot different. And it's weird because he chose this other girl, and I'm not complaining, and I'm not like in despair about that, but it's interesting because the body remembers the shit you've been through. I can't even look at a photograph of this dude without crying. It's very strange. Um, the cycle repeated a few years later. The exact same scenario repeated a few years later. And then in that situation, I was like, recalling from my previous situation, I was like, I'm not really into these pills. I'm not really into the situation. But you know, like the way culture it was going, it was just kind of like, okay, do the thing. And then, again, like the cycle repeats. And it was like a very depressing scenario. It was like people regret these things, like in that situation, my partner regretted the situation. And it was like, you were the one asking for it. The tables had turned. Um, Last year, Jerry almost died. My cat almost died this time last year. So my body, it's weird how the body remembers. Sorry, my hair is crazy. It's weird how the body remembers things. And it's weird how cycles repeat. I had my biggest miscarriage this time. A few years ago, I forgot about it. Put it out of my head, All these things that are like melodramatic. So it's like melodramatic first time around because of cultural standards. It's melodramatic the second time around because of cultural standards. But the third time around, it was not melodramatic. And I think back, that shit happened this time. It was a major. It was a very in-depth pregnancy that miscarried. This time, when was it? Like 3 years ago? It's like happening in threes. In this, and then last year, my cat, who is very symbolic of a blessing that I got for the time that my son was supposed to be born. Jerry came. I got Jerry. He just dropped into my life. And then he almost died this time last year. Like the body remembers all these things. I've been so physically depressed the past 2 days, like physically, like just want to crawl out of my skin. Like just can't. Like I just can't be here. Like I just can't do this. But God carries us through, and my hope is that it's going to be better on the other side. You're shedding these skins, you're shedding these layers. But damn, dude, the body holds trauma like you wouldn't believe. It's pretty amazing because it's just pretty amazing the way God works. It's really amazing the way God's timing is. And then it's no wonder that like the world is falling apart now. Like economically, financially, the stability of the country is so bad. it's happening now. Like, I don't like, it's weird. I was fully booked 3 weeks ago, the past 3 weeks, and this week I'm like, "Dude, your girl's not working. Your girl's not working." And I am steeped deeply in alcoholism because I don't know what else to do. I'm so happy at work, but I'm so sad at home because I don't have any friends. I don't have anybody. I don't have anything to do. I take care of the cat, I take care of the dog. The chickens are really easy. I take care of the chickens. They're super easy. I don't have anything to do. And I'm not complaining, but it is very interesting. Very interesting. And then just to update you on the car situation, my timing belt was screaming and it's not screaming today. And that's interesting because I needed to go drive to get cash. I pay cash to my landlords. They only take cash. So I was like, fuck, I'm so annoyed that today is the first because my timing belt is screaming and I don't want to have to drive. But when I turn my car on, the timing bell is not screaming. Glory be to God. Thank you, God, because it was stressing me out so bad. It's just not a good feeling when your car is not, when your mode of operation is not really intact. Glory be to God. I was so happy. It like relieved my depression because I was so happy. And then dentist appointment coming up, and I was like, I don't have a car to go to that, but I do. My car's fine, seemingly. Um, and it's not until Tuesday. So, we get some mercy here and there. We get some mercy here and there. But it's weird how the body remembers trauma because the past 2 days of my life have been the hardest days of the year, like for seemingly no reason. Um, I did kind of put a nail in the coffin with my last relationship because he wouldn't put me on social media. And I was like, dude, if you won't, like, don't talk to me because people need to know we're together. I think there's a lot of people that didn't know that we were together. I started a civil war in his friend group. And I was like, you can't just like date me in secret. It needs to be public. Like, you need to pick a side. And he ultimately, at this moment in time was like not doing it. And I was like, okay, well, then that's it. That's it. That's it, dude. That's it. And I would say that is something kind of melodramatic because that breakup and that ultimatum was from like 2, 3 months ago. It was my solution that I proposed like a month ago. Like, it was not really something that came on as like a shocker, but in the past 2 days, it was the nail in the coffin of that relationship. And the body remembers trauma. I went into a deep depression, like seemingly no reason. It wasn't over that, but it's interesting how the timeline is like really playing out. It was like, well, this was this time around this time you took the 5-day after pill. 3 years later, you took Plan B. 3 years after that, Jerry almost died, and then however many years after that, I put a nail in the coffin of this relationship. So there is something kind of interesting about this time, and the body remembers. The body remembers trauma. It's very interesting. That's all. Check you later. Have a good night.